gold engraving by hand. And I had shown him a video of like, I just thought her stuff was so cool. So I'd shown him a video like a year and a half ago. It was like, you really know me. Like I didn't know what I would want, but he did somehow. And that's kind of a flex.
What happens when Taylor Swift puts stadium lights and fairy lights together? A love-filled album with a very tall fiancé as the main inspiration. Think of secret garden proposals, love letters that sound like songs, and Taylor quietly talking about how Travis Kelce has changed her music and her whole life. Get ready, Swifties. This is more than just an album. It's a soundtrack for a romantic comedy that plays in real time. Yes, it could be called The Life of a Showgirl. But let's be honest, Taylor is living the life of Travis Kelce's biggest fan. She couldn't help but talk when she stopped by BBC Radio 1. When she got back from Sweden, the first thing she did wasn't rest or unpack. It was a race to get to Travis. Forget about jet lag. Taylor was almost running off the plane saying, "Babe, put on your headphones. You're the people in testing." And of course, Mr. Vibes loved it, let's be honest. If football doesn't work out for Travis Kelce, he could always start a side business as a disco ball. Taylor even joked that her friends are always asking Travis to throw them into pools like he's the Hulk ruining a family barbecue. And then the real kicker came. Taylor said that being happy didn't take away her creativity like she used to think it would. Nope. It turns out that love didn't make her less sharp. It made her music sparkle, crackle, and pop louder than a cork at midnight. And just when you thought Taylor's life couldn't get any more like a romantic comedy, Travis Kelce throws in the best plot twist ever, a proposal in a garden. This guy built Eden in his backyard and then casually dropped to one knee while the rest of us are trying to keep one succulent alive. Taylor gave it a perfect 10 out of 10, which is like winning the Super Bowl in romance points. But this is where it really hits. Life of a Showgirl isn't just another album full of glitter. It was also her survival kit during the hard times. She said she was running on fumes and the record became her secret Red Bull, keeping her awake when her body wanted to sleep.
Kind of forgiving yourself for having gone through something that didn't pan out the way you wanted it to. I'm just happy that that song exists, and also like that chorus I'm really just stoked about how like absolutely infectious. It's giving yourself permission to like not have it all figured out or not marry the first person you ever dated. Not in that situation when you don't know, you know.
And in true Taylor style, she showed off that she can now hit higher notes while running in stilettos. Travis might be able to catch touchdowns, but let's see him try. Of course, Taylor also admitted that she once had a short horror movie playing in her head. What if being happy makes me dull? Think about how crazy it would be to think that true love means writer's block. But instead of running out, her creativity went into overdrive. Her pens have been lifting ideas like they're on creator steroids. She laughed that The Life of a Showgirl was just pure joy turned into music. No sad love songs this time, just lightning caught in a shaken and poured champagne flute track by track. And the Easter eggs that look like they're glowing in neon. There's Opalite for Travis, a cheeky song called Actually Romantic that fans say is a not so subtle response. And of course, Elizabeth Taylor, because Taylor Swift writes about Hollywood royalty while wearing the crown herself. Getting back together with Max Martin and Shellback after almost 10 years sealed the deal, giving the record that old school shine with a 2025 twist. She even gave Greg James a wedding invitation like it was just a friendship bracelet. The classic Swift Chaos wedding version. He's gonna do that as soon as he sees you at our wedding. And since Taylor can't help but add a Shakespearean twist to her love story, she released The Fate of Oilia, a ballad that doesn't just flirt with tragedy, it completely changes it. Hamlet's Oilia died from heartbreak and water. Taylor's version swims toward love, survival, and renewal. She's not going down, she's going up. She is not in despair, she is reborn. It's the kind of heart-stopping, movie-like moment that only Taylor could pull off. She admitted that at one point she felt stuck in her own emotional tower, not protected by dragons, but by the heavy ghosts of heartbreak, regret, and what ifs. Travis Kelce comes in like a knight who keeps his word and pulls Taylor out of her emotional tower, rewriting her ending with ink made of second chances. Fans quickly notice how similar this is to Love Story, her first fairy tale rewrite, in which Romeo and Juliet finally got their happy ending, but this time the weight feels different, heavier, more real, because it's not a dream anymore. It's about you. Travis isn't a daydream written with a quill. He's a hero with flesh, blood, and 6'5" height who came and stayed. That's why the song sounds different. Taylor says this isn't fiction anymore. This is how I live. The cover art even uses symbolism like the famous Oilia paintings with floating figures and stillness in nature. But Taylor changes the story. It's not weak sadness, it's resurrection. Instead of dying, flowers bloom. Light pours in instead of shadow swallowing whole. It's Oilia come back to life, standing tall instead of fading away. Taylor looked even more beautiful than her engagement ring, which is said to cost between $700,000, 0 cents, and $1 million, 0 cents by the time she got to the Graham Norton show. That rock doesn't just shine, it has its own zip code, pulls things in with its gravity, and probably has to pay a HOA fee. Graham couldn't help but make fun of Taylor, who just smiled and said, yeah, he nailed it. Fans won't need a formal press release when the wedding happens, she said. We'll know in true Swift style. Get ready for a huge internet crash that will be like the Bible. Servers crashing, timelines going up in flames, and TikTok detectives already picking out their outfits. But for now, she's keeping it real. First the album, then the vows. You can wait on Pinterest boards. Right now, it's the life of a showgirl with music in the spotlight. Before she goes down the aisle, Taylor can't stop talking about how Travis has completely changed the way she thinks about creativity. It feels like someone changed the batteries and now she's going full speed. She even said on Heart Breakfast that the engagement ring was more than just pretty. It showed that the man had been taking notes like a straight A student. She had shown him a random jeweler's video more than a year ago. Travis found that exact artist, Kindred Lubick, years later to hand engrave the ring, boyfriend of the decade, or maybe even the century. He made it with this great jeweler. Her name is Kindred Lubick. She does all of her gold engraving by hand. But what really made fans go crazy was when Taylor said she had never daydreamed about weddings or bachelorette parties until she met him. All of a sudden, she's thinking about having a Hindu with her girl gang that travels the world. The whole thing feels like a scene from a movie because it's so out of character for her. Taylor just laughed when Emma Button asked about Travis's surprise appearance on the Eras tour. He said he had never been nervous about anything. He doesn't even know what stage fright is, and that's the magic. Her real life with Travis keeps spilling into the music, turning private jokes, quiet times, and big gestures into lyrics that sound like love letters that are easy to find. Each one is wrapped in a song, sprinkled with a metaphor, and sealed with a wink that only the most observant fans will see. The trip starts in Redwood, where Taylor completely stops believing in superstitions. She doesn't need four-leaf clovers or rabbit's feet because she has Travis. He is her redwood, her rock, her anchor, and her lucky charm in the flesh. That theme continues in Wishlist, where she gives up Hollywood glam for something sweeter. There are basketball hoops in the driveway, and in the future, little Kelces will run all over the yard. Don't think about yachts, Oscars, or awards. This is a daydream about living in the suburbs set to music. She even laughs about the time she prayed for a hot best friend. Your wish has been granted. Elizabeth Taylor dives into her biggest fear, losing him, from everyday dreams to movie star glamour. It's full of old Hollywood drama with violet tears and hope softening it. The song is her plea. Don't be another fleeting headline, be forever. And then there's honey, the sweetest surprise of all. As a word that used to mean bitterness changes into something sacred, it becomes sugar. It's not condescending or a casual throwaway when he calls her honey. It's love in a single word. And for Taylor, that small change changes everything, making her name sound like music in his voice. Taylor isn't just making hits. She's rewriting Shakespeare at the same time, and she's doing it with the kind of confidence that only someone in love can have. Her first single, The Fate of Oilia, takes one of literature's saddest heroines and changes the story. Taylor pretty much says, nope, not me. I'm not gonna die like that. Instead of being sad all the time, she says Travis helped her get out of her tower of loneliness and turned what could have been a Hamlet-level tragedy into a modern love story with a real happy ending. Make it warm, real, and last forever, like Romeo and Juliet. A callback to her first great work, Love Story, in which she gave Shakespeare's doomed lovers a second chance, and fans, they didn't miss a beat. They immediately saw how this new love story is different from her heartbreak song from a year ago, which was a prophecy. The glow up is real and is an emotional 180 for the history books. Travis, on the other hand, is out here being the ultimate hype man. He was already blasting unreleased songs around the house, dancing, vibing, and living in it before anyone else heard the record. It's clear that the Chiefs tight end is not only the best player on the field, but also the best player in her heart and on her playlist. And of course, Taylor couldn't help but throw in a little shade with some sparkle. She says that past relationships are like eating out of the trash on Oak Wiley. Brutal, but only Taylor could make that sound like poetry. But just when you think she's going to write a full-on diss track, she turns it into a beautiful love letter to Travis, the guy who put her broken pieces back together and made them shine. And since she's Taylor, she makes a sly jab at that one ex who was more interested in her phone than in him. Fans think it's a wink at one of Travis's ex-girlfriends, but the shade doesn't stay. The track ends like a sunrise in a movie. Nights of not being able to sleep, and lightning storms giving way to a love so strong it paints the sky in opal light. Kelce didn't just calm her storm, he made it her forever dawn. And that's it for this one, everyone. Get ready for more, because with Taylor, the love story is just beginning.